Oh, boys and girls, boys and girls. Uh, we just finished off with Waves and Curls on a fine Saturday afternoon, and we are now sitting with oh, you don't know what this has done to me. We had a cancellation, and then we had a fill in. And not only did we have a fill in, but it's game day at Pro Wrestling Magic. Uh,
Got your game face on.
it's stirring the pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Shane Fair. Thank you, my man, for joining us today.
It is an honor, man. As soon as you asked me this morning, I jumped at the chance, man. Any time to see that mug, let alone be on stirring the pot, man, it's an honor.
I know we spoke, we had a little soiree with one Shane Fair some months way back,
Love it.
but we haven't talked in a while. I've seen you in action over time. There's been events up and down, up and down. Shane Fair's been going to the Atlantic City and the Showboat and doing all sorts of different stuff. Look at that beautiful smile. My goodness, I miss you, my friend. Um, but today's a special day because when I said, Mr. Fair, I had somebody drop out, and I go, you're a very busy man. What's your itinerary today? And I know it's game day at Pro Wrestling Magic. Not only is it game day, but it's if I remember correctly, it's called the Roaring Twenties 2. Is that
That's
correct?
right. That's right. Roaring 20s 2, behind the eight ball. It's going to be a great doubleheader here tonight in Ridgefield Park. That's going to air on Fight TV. I believe it's February 28th. So we still got a little bit before the air date. So, there's 10 seats available. So if you're watching this and you have some time and you can get to Ridgefield Park, we got 10 seats left today. And the benefit of that is you get to see the March event also. And you're not going to be able to see that till March 28th. So you'll have that jump on everybody. You'll have that little knowledge of what happened, and you won't have to wait that extra month. So, for some of our fans, it's great.
Oh wow, great info. Now the heading kind of confused me because it said the Roaring Twenties 2 and then behind the eight ball. Those are two separate events. Is that what you're speaking of?
The subtitle of the Roaring 20s 2 is Behind the Eight Ball. And then there's the next event is called, appropriately enough, is the Ides of March. So, and I'm happy to say that I went to the Newark airport today around 9:30 a.m. and I picked up one of the greatest superstars in professional wrestling today, my personal favorite wrestler, Saeed Al-Sabah. He's in the building. So, it's good to have his presence in here. Further on, I think more will be revealed as to his purpose for being here. But
well, that's something I wanted to jump into right off the ripper, because if there's one person in this universe that's very happy to have him at Pro Wrestling Magic, is one Shane Fair. You on your face page, I stalk you all the time. I follow you all the time.
As I do
on the face page, I appreciate that. You are very happy to have your friend and cohort with you at Pro Wrestling Magic. Please give us some insight. Give us the fans some insight about what's going on over there with yourself and your friend Saeed there.
Well, I was given the opportunity. I don't have a voice too often. I know I try to stay in my lane and just be the announcer. I don't try to get into the booking end. I don't try to stick my neck into anybody else's business. That's why they have their job. That's why they're doing it. Nobody comes and says, I want to announce this guy. So I try not to make many recommendations. But it was just a necessity that we share Saeed Al-Sabah with the Magic Kingdom. This man is forget what he does in the ring. He's one of the most talented artists that you'll ever see. It reminds you, I always say, why they call it a canvas in the first place. This man is an artist, and he applies his art, in any ring, and any audience that sees him is better for having done so. But the spirituality of this man, being in this man's presence, in the presence of Saeed Al-Sabah, he's one of the most positive people that you will ever encounter in your life. I always say, if there's 100 Saeed Al-Sabahs in this world, we'd have world peace in a week. This guy is... he's a presence. He's a spiritual and energetic presence. You don't encounter that too often. In wrestling, you meet those people every so often that possess that magical type quality. And Saeed Al-Sabah, without question, is that person.
Wow, some fine words from one Shane Fair. Now there is, in the back, in the locker rooms, behind the curtain, if you will. We just like in life, there's always, the drama, the politics and stuff like that. But there's also the majority and I'm not trying to paint a bad picture here. The
Right.
majority are very uplifting, positive men and women behind
Definitely.
the curtain and such, and in the locker rooms. So I am so glad to hear that we have just that much more positivity, not only in the locker room, but when you get in that ring, you still need that positivity to overflow. So I'm so glad to hear that because we love wrestling. We don't want wrestling to be hampered by the garbage, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Don, you're one of the people that perpetuate that type energy more so than anybody, man. You know, you're just awesome, man. You are a bastion of positivity, and that I love that this business is finally responding to positivity. You should just like shush it aside, like But I think in light of this year and a lot of the negativity that we went through over the summer, with a lot of the issues in professional wrestling, I think that positivity is being looked at with open arms now, like in this business. When people are gravitating towards those positive outlets like yourself. There's a couple podcasts out there that really delve and focus on the positive things. Like like the show like Dark Side of the Ring. That's great. We all like to be entertained and watch a good documentary. But week after week, to hear the negative aspects of the sport and to hear them portrayed, like a horror story, isn't really what this sport is about. It brings people joy every weekend, every day. It's gotten so many of us through the pandemic. It filled our free time, and this place right here, the Knights of Columbus in Ridgefield Park, I affectionately refer to it as the Mecca of professional wrestling in New Jersey. Now, I'm sure other places can lay claim, a White Eagle Hall or the Asbury, Park building. This to me is the Mecca for professional wrestling, and to be surrounded with that, the positivity from Magic, and then to bring Saeed in, it's just like such an alchemy of just positive things. And it's really what the sport really needs. And it's, like I said, it's so good to see people respond to that.
Now, you have a very busy day ahead of you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, because if there's anything that I would like to do is keep Shane Fair all to myself for the whole Saturday afternoon. So with your busy day ahead, now I don't do homework. I don't research stuff. I do share as much stuff as I can on the face page, and I do try to pay attention to as much as I can, and I try to soak up as much information as I can. But since we do have you at Pro Wrestling Magic Roaring Twenties 2, behind the 8 ball, I got to finish that. Do you have a card in play that you could maybe give us a little insight of what's happening at Pro Magic Wrestling this evening?
Well, certainly I can tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
We're going to have Impact Superstar in the first show, in the Roaring 20 show. We got AC Baby, Ace Romero is going to be taking on TJ Crawford, who, if you've been following, this guy is, TJ Crawford, lights out TJ Crawford, as he's being known, kind of bringing in like that brawling style in with that aerial style that we've already known him for. So that's going to be a great match, because as much as I've seen TJ Crawford, I've never really seen him against a much larger opponent. So it's usually against his contemporaries who are also high flyers or have that agility. So that's going to be an interesting match right off the bat. AMS, the American Murder Society, Steve Hoff and Alex Ryman, they're taking on the Brick City Boys, Jay Cruz and Victor Chase. I'm looking forward to that. Prince Josiah, who has always been part of the Pro Wrestling Magic family, his new gimmick, the personification of gold, Josiah Hiru. I don't know much about it, so I'm very curious to see what those Wrestle Pro alumni is capable of under that now. Of course, Wrecking Bull Legursky and his reluctant tag team partner, Adam Payne, Bull and Payne, they'll be in the house today. Our junior heavyweight champion, Sebastian Cage. I know, we spent hours. That was the reason to be at PWA where I met you. You know what I mean? Is to see Sebastian Cage, and shout out to Kara for being able to spot talent like that. Years before.
Absolutely, and I love that about PWA when they knew an eye for talent. PWA did.
Seriously.
Now Sebastian Cage, he's going against One Thunder Heart J. George, if I'm not mistaken.
I love it. Have you watched? Now I know you say you didn't do much. You have to go and watch the J. George promos.
I do. I see everything, J. George.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's like this pseudo director, heavily
Yeah.
influenced by like some of my favorite directors like Paul Thomas Anderson. We shoot the shit often, like in DMs and everything, and the ideas that come out of him. He is, again, like, I don't like to overuse it, but he's a true artist. He's like Kaufman-esque, He's
He
like
is. He definitely is. The creative mind of one J. George is kind of knows no boundaries. I gotta say, and that promo you're speaking of specifically is such a bleeping gas. I love that thing. He's sitting there talking very prim and proper, like a newscaster, if you will. And he's going through his lines, but right at the beginning he messes up,
he
and instead of like a
spits.
take two,
He spits on his own floor. Like, I mean, that's not amazing. The second he spit, I lost it. He's hit his stride. Creatively, he has hit his stride. There's been a little bit of experimentation, but this is it creatively. He has found his stride.
I actually tuned in, not to the whole thing, but I tuned in when he was trying to break to create the Guinness Book of World Records longest promo ever. And he was on for 4 hours straight, my friend. Facebook cut him off because they only let him do a 4-hour run. He was doing it Facebook Live at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Record breaker.
I didn't mean to focus on Jay George.
No, please. He's making his debut, man. I'm happy.
Yeah, that match for me personally, that would draw me. That one match right there would draw me. That's like a 3.5-hour ride for me personally. So if I were to go, though, that one match, one Sebastian Cage against Jay George, I am so there for that. And I know
did you happen to see the poster that he made? Starring the champion. I love it. Like a footnote on the poster.
Yeah. He also has some more fine talent at Pro Wrestling Magic, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Darius Carter, is he not? Is that title not up for grabs?
Yes, it is. We're going to see the rematch between Mr. Darius Carter and Erica Lee, which was a Pro Wrestling Magic Instant Classic. Now we're going to see that match again, a rematch, while Darius Carter has the Dark Arts Championship. And just for those who are not familiar, like the Dark Arts rules, there's no disqualifications, there's no countouts. Both combatants are allowed 1 rope break each, and closed fist punches to the head are legal. So Mr. Darius Carter has also added some rules and stipulations. So I believe it's going to be a round. It's going to be a round-based fight. So I'm going to have to get more from him as he arrives to the building. But he has his own stipulations at hand that he wanted to add to a championship that really is tailor-made for him. The Dark Arts Championship is tailor-made for his style and his brutality. His what did I say? He's there was a quote I had on one of the about him relating to be a sadist. He is like the most creative sadist that you'll ever see. He just takes such joy in the pain he inflicts on others. And this championship, I think, is the perfect fit for him. The Dark Arts Championship.
Very charismatic character, one Darius Carter. And I want to just pause there for a minute because I've spoken about a word that kind of gets shuffled around. Many people don't like it. Some people still utilize it. The word kayfabe, if you will.
Right.
If there are a few people, and I'm just going to name 2 back to back right here, and I know you're familiar with both of them. If there are 2 men in our area that keep this.
Oh my God! It's Nick Shin, the greatest referee in professional wrestling.
Hi, is this the bathroom?
No. And could you please wipe that off?
What? Right there?
Oh, jeez, man.
Right there?
Oh my God!
Right, something right there?
Whoa!
What is it? I'm just a ref.
Shane Fair, 6 feet. Shane Fair, 6 feet.
It worked. You got to carry one of these with you at all times.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
God. Well,
That
it's Valentine's Day weekend. So I'm not gonna.
That escalated quickly. You see what I did? Never mind.
A little. But I'm going to use that to segue into the God of Drivers is going to be taking on New York Drip Matt Vertigo in action. Well, not action like that, but
uh,
got a last minute replacement too. I don't think anybody. It wasn't even advertised yet. Steve Pena is going to take on Billy Dixon, so that's another cool match.
okay. Can we pause right there because Steve
Sure.
Pena was supposed to be my 2 o'clock,
Oh,
and then he goes, "Hey, man, I apologize. That blah blah blah. I got to do the rapid thing. We got to figure out what's going on because somebody bowed out and they want me to fill in." I go, "Dude, go, do your thing."
oh, cool. And there was
Yeah,
definitely truth to that.
Yeah, he was actually our 2 o'clock for today. That's crazy.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So continue. I don't mean to interrupt, sir.
No, please. Yeah. So Billy Dixon's always been like he's been on the cusp a few times of like some of our divisions, like the Dark Arts division. He's got a match, as a matter of fact, against Darius Carter. So you're going to see some of these people in action 2 times. So speaking of kayfabe, let me just say it like it is. Part of their doubleheader is some people are going to be working 2 times. So to think of the athleticism that you need to wrestle 2 matches in a day, and this will be for our March airing on Fight TV, the second one, the Ides of March, which is very apropos name. There's a lot of backstabbing and et tu brute going on right now. So we'll see what the Ides of March certainly holds. And of course, Saeed Al-Sabah's in the building. So there's got to be a reason.
Now, there's one main name you haven't mentioned, and I'm going to jump to that in a second. But when you say the words Ides of March, I go right to Iron Maiden. That's my go-to when I hear Ides of March.
Oh.
Just a fun fact. Just want to throw that out there. That's a shame. Just being selfish there.
Power Slave
now,
album? Was it on Power Slave?
I believe it was previous to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was an intro to, if I'm not mistaken, it was an intro to diddle down, diddle down, diddle down, diddle down. Great track. Anywho, that's for a different time. Now, fine card that you have built over at Pro Wrestling Magic. I cannot wait to see what's produced, the content, the production that we get to see out of that. But I want to get to a name. Oh, first, before I get to this name, I want to get back to the kayfabe topic real quick. Like around our area, and I don't know everybody. I know like a sliver of all the wrestlers around me. But the people that I do know, if there's 2 people that I could pull out of like a Jenga puzzle, if you will, 2 pieces, I'm going to pick one Darius Carter and one Dan the Man. And I know you're familiar with both of these men.
Sure.
Tell me that they do not keep this kayfabe alive. I call both of them, in all honesty. And I hope Dan the Man doesn't, his head's going to get even bigger when I say this. I feel that they're kind of like our modern day Ric Flairs in our area, with the way they carry themselves,
Sure,
with the suits professionally, the way when they walk out of the event, they're not talking to nobody, they're not giving nobody their time, and stuff like that. So their characters or their gimmicks or what have you never shuts off. And they tell you it's not a gimmick, it's just me, and I get that.
Sure.
But tell me, those aren't 2 guys that really keep kayfabe alive, if you will.
Something you don't see like mentioned about Darius Carter often is the fact that he has 0 merchandise. There has been promoters that have approached him. I remember the owner of Tier 1 wanted to make shirts for him and sell them under the Tier 1 flag. No, this man sacrifices. I mean, you talk about kayfabe, but you step a little bit behind the curtain to say this, but he sacrifices all of the money he can make on T-shirts, stickers, 8x10s. Part of it is because maybe he sincerely does hate these people and he doesn't want to interact with them. But that is a commitment to leave all that money on the table. That that could pay your gas. That could pay there's just countless money that he leaves on the table for the sacrifices for his art. Now, his art is, of course, being a sadist, but that's incredible to me that you would turn down that money. Part of it, I don't think he wants to see a fan wearing his shirt. He doesn't want to see a smiling fan, with his image on their shirt. He's out for something more than that. So the fact that he has that commitment to this business, that he will turn down that money and leave that, proverbial money on the table for the sake of his craft is outstanding to me. It's outstanding. So I got to respect that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to pull one more name out. He's a newer guy on the scene. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He hasn't had too many matches under his belt. He's working his way up. He's out of the Kevin Landry's Combine area. One Chris Cannon. That guy is the same exact way. Zero merch. You will never see a piece of merch ever come out of this guy. Again, keeping that environment alive.
That's great.
I don't want to see nobody. Like you said, those exact words, what you just said, he reiterated. I don't want to see nobody smile with my fucking shirt on. And I don't mean to drop any F-bombs if I'm not supposed to. But you know what? I'm not here to make you laugh. I'm not here to make you smile. I'm here to hurt people. That's my job. That's what I do.
Oh, he gets it. Yeah, man.
And he totally gets it. And I, I slid in his DMs, which probably was one of my biggest mistakes in my entire existence. I said, Mr. Cannon, I know you don't have any merchandise, but what about making something fun like a whoopee cushion? That was the worst statement I have said in my entire life.
Oh boy.
I should have totally you know how you can unsend when you send something in Messenger?
Right.
I should have done that immediately. The heat that came back at me was lava heat, my friend. So yeah, bad mistake. I'll never do that again. So I want to get to a name that I haven't mentioned on the Pro Wrestling Magic roster, if I will, and I know it's going to bring back bad memories. Not that long ago, we saw the demise of our friend Shane Fair in the middle of the ring. I've never seen anything like that with Shane. I've always seen him looking very dapper, speaking in that microphone very professionally, shining the talent coming down to the ring. But not that long ago, we saw one Mr. Shane Fair get chokeslammed by the Meadowlands Monster. Is there any way that you could talk to us about that situation? What's happening since then? Are you okay? Obviously, your beautiful smile, but is your head okay? Is your back okay? Could you give us some insight on that situation and where you're at with it?
Oh, the day that I left, the building, it felt like I was in a car accident. Like getting back to my car, and I don't have the greatest back to begin with. So, yeah, it felt like I was in a car accident that day. Since then, there's no interaction. Uh-oh, did I lose you?
Hold on 1 second. It'll come back.
There we go. Excellent.
I apologize.
No problem. So, yeah, since that day, there's no interaction. This was a guy who, I had over for barbecues over my house, all the time. So, I don't know. The way things happened so suddenly, it was like a clean break. So it's not like, like I'm lamenting the loss of a friend or anything. It's just like bygones be bygones. And I'd rather people expose themselves to you. Wait, no. I'd rather people expose their true intentions to you. That's better. I don't want, I don't want to. I won't even reiterate. I'm just going to leave that. Okay. But anyway, yeah. And, we have to be in the same building, once a month. So, right now, I'm in a, he's in the other room. So I can keep my distance. It's a big building. But I always got to worry, because if he snapped once, he could snap again. Part of it, though, I got to accept some responsibility. If a fan hops the guardrail, we know what happens to him. So if an announcer enters a ring while a man's on a diatribe, I kind of, in a way, forfeit my right to safety, in a way. But, of course, when it's your friend and it's somebody that, you've broken bread with and, been at your house with, you don't expect that type thing. And it just escalated, And
yeah.
The fact that it had to be a hack wrestling move, that he had to choke slam me and not just shove me to the floor or punch me. The fact that he had to humiliate me by lifting me and doing what he would do in a match that's what was troublesome. But you never know. You never know. Some things stick with people, and I don't want to say revenge, but some things need to be made right. Some things need to be made right.
There may be repercussion in the future for said event that happened. Now, you're not an athlete, so when that went down, my friend, I was watching it live, and when that went down, I lost my absolute shit. And I messaged LC, our mutual friend Laura C,
Laura.
and I go, Shane Fair just got fucking chokeslammed by the Meadowlands Monster. I don't know what the hell. I hope they're bringing him to a local medical facility. But you said you drove on your own, so I'm glad you didn't have to go to said local medical facility.
Right. They right after that he raged out and he left the building. So like I had that night I could recoup on my own, and it wasn't really a necessity that I needed medical attention. But I don't know. I've had those days where your back locks up and you have to crawl out of bed, and it felt like that. Like it was a shock to the system. I'm a big guy. I'm like we said, I'm not in wrestler shape, so to go through that, it gave me new respect for what these guys go through, like in their matches, of course. But it also let me know that that's not my place. I should stay in my announcer lane once again. There's little caveats all over the place to remind me to stay in my lane, and I really have to. But that being said, I am a very contemplative person, and like I think very deeply in hindsight on things. So,
Okay.
am I going to just let that go completely? I don't think so. I think that at some point I have to do, I have to make that right. Just as a man, like, it was very emasculating. So that's something that I have to, have to make right with myself, basically. And I will.
Well, I hope that you wouldn't be speaking of yourself getting in the ring with such Meadowland Monster. That would be very detrimental to your health. I
wouldn't even.
Yeah. We wouldn't want that. Yeah, we wouldn't want that. Because we like Shane Fair in one piece, not in multiple. Yeah, we don't want you scattered. Now, big card tonight. If you had to pick, and I know it's no slight on anybody or any match or whatever, but when you're leading up to this event over the course of the past couple weeks, obviously having your friend Sahib right by your side, that's definitely right up on the top of your list of this evening. But if a couple matches, if you had to pull a couple pieces out, what are you looking forward to seeing? Because I know you were very excited to see this TJ Crawford match because
Sure.
AC baby, I mean, come on. I mean, holy cow. So what are a couple matches that Shane Fair is really looking to look at right now?
Jordan Blade is going to be going against, I'm going to say she's the princess of pro wrestling magic, Erica Lee. That 90s chick. We love her. We love her here. The staff, the fans. So I'm supposed to be impartial, but to see Erica Lee leave with the vacated women's championship tonight, that would make my weekend. That's a big thing. And then, like you said, man, you called it that Jay George match versus Sebastian Cage. I think we're going to be entertained, thoroughly, comedically, athletically, and that's going to be the possible show steal. But man, that TJ Crawford AC Baby match, that should be interesting, man, because TJ Crawford has proved that he's on that stage. He's on, that next move is any day now. He's incredible. He just gets better and better, and as he finds himself, he's just incredible, man. I'm a huge TJ Crawford fan, so that's
same. Yeah, same here, my friend. He's been on Stir in the Pot some months back. Yeah, and from when he was on Stir in the Pot, even to right now, not very many months, and I know we'll call it maybe 6 or 8 months in between. Really not a long stretch of time. He's evolved in just that short amount of time as well.
Sure has.
Yeah.
I get to see a lot of his work at Synergy. I get to see it here, thankfully, in the Kingdom. And he's just a phenomenal athlete. When he had been doing the Shaka gimmick with the beach bums and everything like that, he stood out. I mean, those guys are great. I'm no slight on them at all, but he stood out, and it was like, this guy, you wanted him to be in solos competition. You wanted him to be an entity among himself, and we're getting to see that, and we're getting to see why he's so special, man. And now he's evolving into like a including that brawling with his high flying antics, and that's lethal. Great chemistry of the combination of the two.
Absolutely, and he's not afraid to entertain by any stretch. Mm-hmm. You speak of the beach bums. And there was one time I was at PAPW, a Friday Night Alley Fights.
Oh.
And I'm right there. Me and Foggy are over there. I had my pop and stuff and Bruce and whatnot. And the Beach Bums are having their match. It flows to the outside of the ring, and I got Freddie Flamingo on the ground in front of me, asking me where the beach is. I go, it's over there. He was looking for the steps. Yeah, and so he was swimming to the steps. So so we talk evolution.
I love that. That's awesome.
My man Shane Fair, his reactions are just absolutely priceless. But we talk about evolution of wrestler character over time. And I only speak about that because of where I saw TJ at one point in a tag team to now where he is as a singles competitor, night and day.
Yeah, seriously. He could do both. He really proved it. It's a tough transition to make, and to cut that cord. You have the other gentlemen in that group that they could, you're not feeling it. They might step in and comedically, or again, just in the ring. But TJ Crawford is just, I just always wanted him to be a singles wrestler. I always wanted him to be on his own. He doesn't need that. He needs to be on his own. And I've just, like you say, the evolution that he's taken, and it is a rapid evolution. He's constantly getting better and constantly changing. So, that could be a very big threat to Sebastian Cage's junior heavyweight championship at some time, here for Wrestling Magic. So, they're very evenly matched. They're like two ships passing in the night. They've met in the past, but, very athletic gentlemen who just seem to not matched up too many times. And I think once we see that, we're going to see a classic rivalry. I hope it's here.
That would be something special. TJ Crawford, Sebastian Cage. Holy cow. I would be so down for that. Now, we've talked about many fine talent. We've talked about Pro Wrestling Magic. We kind of brought up some bad memories. We dove back into that Meadowland Monster incident, if you will. Mr. Shane Fair, again, I know you have a very busy day. Now, we have spoken a while back, but in the interim, I've spoken to Miss Cara Scarfo, and I've spoken to both Miss Cara Scarfo and one Joseph Von Schmidt. And actually, Joseph Von Schmidt, not that long ago, within the last couple weeks. And I've talked PWA to both of those fine people, and there was supposed to be something last year,
right.
Which obviously didn't pan out.
Exactly.
So what I am to hear, though, is we might get one more event. I don't know if there's going to be anything after that, but they do want to put on another event in this year's calendar sometime. So if PWA comes around, I know it's a haul for you, but hopefully when it comes around, we get to see one Shane Fair at a PWA show. That would be really fun.
I would love that. I love Cara. I love PWA. That was just such a special place to drive through New York traffic on a Friday to go to Connecticut. It better be something special. So there's nothing in the world. I can't think of anything. Like if I had to name something off the top of my head that I would drive on a Friday to Connecticut for, all things included, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. So PWA was that kind of place that it was like a no-brainer. And I used to have to pick up Sebastian Cage in the Bronx. It would take me from like Staten Island to the Bronx sometimes like 3 hours in the most soul-crushing, nut-stomping traffic you've ever been in your life. It was miserable commute. But and then the slap in the face on the way home, it would take like 2 hours, an hour, like 85 the whole time, like no cops. It's like, how is this the same road?
Now you've been on the road with some fine talent in your car, or you have joined in car rides, I'm assuming, on the road. And I ask the talent every so often on this show if they can maybe share, because there's plenty of road stories out there.
Sure.
Maybe you can't tell us all of them. Maybe you can't go into too much detail about some of them. But look at that beautiful smile. Is there a road story that maybe Shane Fair could share with us, the fans, that maybe
There's a
sticks
couple,
out?
man. I drove Filthy Tom Lawler. He's UFC famous. Of course he's in wrestling now. Yeah. And he was in my passenger side, and I was dropping him off at Penn Station in Manhattan. So like we're driving. I think we were on the west side for whatever reason, and we're going up towards Penn Station, and there's a drunk guy coming out of a bar, and he grabs on the passenger side car hand, like, "Come on, let me in, let me in." And it was like, do you understand that there's a fucking killer on the other side of this door? Like, you have filthy, not even a UFC guy who has a nickname, Filthy, Tom Lawler. Like, you have one of the best fighters in the world sitting in the seat, and you're pulling on my door trying to, like, semi-carjack me. And I was like, it was the crazy shit. It was like, you have no idea how close that, like, you're dancing on the side of a cliff, like, right now. It was like, and I'm looking at Tom Lawler, of course, he doesn't, it's not on 100%. And you're just like looking at him like, what the? But I was like, if this person knew how close to death he was. Also, all right, you know what? Let's break some eggs. I'll tell. Before I got to get back in a little bit, but I want to tell you.
I know.
Sebastian Cage, right? In our drives, you basically told him that when people cut me off, I don't, road rage and chase them down or want to fight them, but I do keep those little glass stink bombs in my console, right? The German-made little glass stink bombs. So I'll catch up, think, a little right off the windshield deal. Nobody knows nothing, and then you have the horrible smell of 1,000 dead eggs, basically, for the rest of your travel. So when I told Sebastian about this, he loved it. He responded to this. He was like, "I like this idea. I like this justice." He was all on board. So we're driving home from Connecticut after PWA one time, and this asshole comes in and cuts me off. He's going off the exit, then he cuts back on, almost smashes us. Sebastian is like, "I got it." Right to the console. Ding! And he hit him with his. I've never been so proud of anybody in my life. Like, he adapted my stink bomb concept and successfully delivered one to someone who cut us off. That's a dumb story, and that is juvenile to keep stink bombs. That is probably illegal in like all 50 states. But it is what it is. You wanted a road story? I'll give you a road story.
I might even name this episode the Stink Bomb. We might do that.
I got 2 shows to do. If I'm stinking now, it's going to be a long day.
Since the referee did come in for a little excitement over there, I might just call it "This escalated quickly." We might even call it that.
Okay, shit, that's enough. Yeah, he just left.
Let's see. This escalated quickly, but only a little. There we go.
Oh, God.
Shane Fair.
This guy gets heat. He is a heat magnet. This guy knows he gets the heat. Poor guy.
Mr. Shane Fair, I knew this was going to be filled with fun and laughter. I cannot thank you for setting some time aside on such a busy schedule with Pro Wrestling Magic today, and I cannot thank you enough for spending time.
Thank you for having me, man. I jumped at the chance, man. I appreciate you thinking of me.
We love our Shane Fair. We're always.
I love you, and I love Laura. I love you guys.
We love us, especially with that very first time that Laura met you when we were at the Bronx here over at Dario's. Man, she's been a big Shane Fair fan since that evening, and awesome. That's what we love, though, my friend. Spreading the love of each other and getting to know one another and finding new friends at wrestling and such. That's what we do. We build our friendships up.
We sure do.
With all of that said, we had a fine conversation with Shane Fair, and I can't thank him enough for his time. Even grabbed a little of excitement over there. I don't know.
Save that for the OnlyFans.
Yeah, I did put up an OnlyFans page thing, but it's actually Mr. Burns with my likeness. So that's pretty much what I look like naked. So you take it what you will. Shane Fair, we love you to itty bitty pieces.
Love you too, bro.
And the time that was shared with us and giving us the time, because boys and girls, go out there. If you don't know who Pro Wrestling Magic is, get on the face page, the YouTube, the Snapchats, whatever they got going on. Look at all the platforms. Type it up. You won't be disappointed, because They give us fans some fine product to
Great
soak
product.
in and be invested in. They take characters and storyline and fine wrestling and give that all to us in a product. And I'm there. That's all I need.
Thank you, Don. You could have said it better, man. It really is a great place. The Magic Kingdom, you know, for those that don't know, please, you know, wrestling is magic. You can find us on, you know, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Please follow us. A lot of free content, a lot of classic matches involving some of the people like, you know, that, you know, Sonny Kiss, Keith Lee, JT Dunn, like, you know, Cody Rhodes. They've all been in the ring upstairs. You know, that's why it makes this place so special. And you never know, that next Cody Rhodes, that next Keith Lee, he might be in a ring tonight. So please join us.
Mm-hmm. A fine ending to a fine conversation with Shane Fair. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest who gave us the white glove treatment, Shane Fair. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Don. As always, brother.